stop that.
No, it's okay, I got it, yeah. Yeah, what's up? My name is Allan. I'm the one who produced this commercial for Kinetic Kings and my team Untab Agency. So let's get started about how I produced this with Kinetic Kings. Alright, so the original concept for the campaign, at first it was for the retro shorts line that they were gonna drop. Bryant wanted to scratch that idea because it was kind of a gamble because he doesn't know if his audience was gonna like the retro idea. So during the pre-production phase, we had to kind of scratch that idea. The new idea that we came up together was to do their chrome bandana lineup because Bryant already had been selling this for like the past couple weeks and it's always been selling out every time we drop the new batch. So it only makes sense to do the campaign around the chrome bandana lineup. The 4 talents that we found that best fit Bryant's brand, Kinetic Kings, was 4 art. Damn.
Bro, holy fuck, man.
Alright, I think he's done drilling. So the beginning of the creative process of this campaign was to gather the correct talent for this. So the brand's message was to build a community and to show the diversity of the lifestyles that carried their clothes along their journey. Bryant pretty much requested us to find 4 different talents with 4 different lifestyles to best represent this brand. So the people we got were Will, a tattoo artist, KJ, a basketball athlete, Omar, a photographer, and Balawa, a model. We basically used these 4 talents within the Kinetic brand for this campaign. So we shot Will within the same studio that I'm actually sitting in right now. So I'm gonna show you guys a little bit of this spot later. KJ, we shot with this guy at the first scene during I think it was a Saturday, yeah, on a Saturday. So we had a 4-day shoot, 12 hours. We first shot with KJ for the basketball scene. This is it was first shot at 9 a.m. for like first couple hours. We shot with Omar as the photographer in the second part in downtown Los Angeles. Yeah, so we're just doing street photography at that time. And then, so basically, yeah, Bilal was just kicking it with his homies at Mount Washington, and we're just filming that up there. See, so during this whole video production process, I felt like the pre-production felt like it took the longest portion out of this development for sure. It's like making something out of nothing. Like it's very hard from the beginning. Everything just comes as an idea as first, but I think just like carrying out the whole project, everything has to be really planned out. If it's not carefully planned out, you might have to run this like 1 to 2, even 3 days if you don't plan it out carefully. So Bryant really wanted us to try to fit everything within like a 12-hour day, so that's why the planning took a long time to do, because like if it were to extend to like maybe 2 or 3 days, the budget's going to be very expensive for the brand, so it's best to keep it as condensed as possible within 1 day. So the production crew consisted of 5 people. It was me as the producer and FPV pilot, Luis as director and main shooter and editor, Omar as the assistant director and second shooter, Quaz, the behind the scenes and production assistant.
World's best assistant. I'm about to tighten up my propellers because I crashed it earlier. I can't see anything, but I hope I'm pointing at my face.
And then Brian as an audio engineer. He helped us a lot in the post-production phase for sure. And then the storyboard and script development process took the longest for sure because we had to make sure the brand's message in the video is correct throughout the whole 1-minute video. Creating a shot list for sure make the video production go smooth the day of. Yes, and for the equipment that we used for this, so the main camera we used was a Sony a7S III. We recorded most of it in like 4K 60 frames per second and 4K 30 frames per second at 10-bit color. And we used the a7 IV as a second body of camera. And then we also used the a7 III, but the max that one can do is 4K 30 at 8-bit. So we use that as the behind the scenes camera and not as the main camera. And then for the aerials, I actually use this one right here. I use this FPV drone, the Freestyle, with the Insta360. Well, I didn't use the Insta360 on the FPV drone. I actually used the GoPro. I just didn't take it off. Yeah, so the combination I used was this drone and then the GoPro 10 with the ND filter to shoot outdoors. For the Insta360, Luis actually used, it's weird calling you Luis, dude.
I know.
I'm gonna just say Luigi. So Luigi actually used this Insta360 for the Mount Washington part. I'm gonna play that shit again. I'm gonna play that part again for you guys to see on how we utilize this tool right here. We also use it in Will's studio as well to get the multiple like we had 3 wheels in this one studio, and this is the camera that we used because like there was a cool invisible stick that was able to use. And as for the audio gear, we mostly used the DJI lav mic. We didn't really record any voiceovers during like the shoot. We only used the DJI microphone when we wanted to record like the BTS portion, which I spoke in. Yeah, that's all we used for that, for audio. And then the lighting setup, I think we used it at Mount Washington because it was doing blue hour, so like it was we actually needed some lighting during that lighting situation. And then for the indoor studio portion, where we shot Will's portion for the tattoo, so we had to use some control lighting in that part of the video. Oh yeah, I can't forget about see the chrome paisley. You see it, right? Not sponsored. Oh, here we go. So this is the DJI RS3 Mini. This is the one that Luigi used for the A7S III. This was on at all times for the main camera. And as for the A7 IV, that thing was basically just handheld for extra footage. Basically, the A7S III we mostly used the 16-35 2.8 G Master. That was the main lens for that camera. And then for the A7 IV, we used like a 90mm macro lens for that one, just for the tight detail shots. As for the post-production, since we shot mainly the whole commercial on the A7S III, we shot it in 10-bit color, 422, 4K 60, and 4K 30. Both on the A7S III and A7 IV, and then everything shot on the BTS camera on the A7 III was shot 8-bit color at 4K 30 frames per second. And then we edited the whole project on Final Cut Pro 10 on the new M2 MacBook Pro. The previous MacBook Pro from 2019 that I had, it just cannot handle 4K 60 at 10-bit color. So the new MacBook that I actually got from Will, shout out to those guys for the MacBook Pro. Yeah, it was super fast during the whole editing process, I'd say, for the technical side, since we have to wait for like any rendering at all. The playback was so smooth on M2 MacBook Pro. Yeah, so what I'm trying to say is like investing into a high quality machine to edit these projects, I think it's a necessity. Like, you don't want to just sit around and let that shit render all day. And as for the Insta360 footage that Luigi used, so basically we had to get the Insta360 Studio. In order to get the Insta360 Studio, you would need to have one of these. You need the serial number from these cameras in order to get that for free. Everything was imported from Insta360 into the Insta360 Studio, and then we did all the keyframe editing in there. And after that, we just drag and drop into the Final Cut Pro system and then put into the commercial. As for the FPV footage, so this FPV drone with the GoPro 10, I record this in 4K 60 at micro four thirds at 4K 60 frames per second. And since micro four thirds is basically like almost like a box, a wide box, in order to stretch it out, you gotta apply Real Steady Go into it. So I use this program called Real Steady Go in order to also stabilize the footage. Because if you were to leave it micro four thirds, it just looks like a box and it's very rocky. It's not smooth. So that's also how you stretch it to 16:9. And then as for the audio mixing, homie Brian, he's a music producer, so he knows a lot about audio engineering. So he helped us a lot on the sound designing and then just sound mashing together for this to get an original soundtrack. And then yeah, we basically just use Artlist as well for the copyright-free music. We learned a lot from this campaign shoot for sure. So the communication between the team and the brand, I think that was the most important part for sure, because you don't want to produce something that the client was not expecting at all. So every step of the way, we made sure to call Brian to make sure like, hey, this is what you want, right? This is what you want, right? Is this along with your brand guidelines? Is this your message? Like, you're cool with this, right? So it makes sure that they're happy with what we're producing for them. Because you don't want to go out there and shoot it again, because that's just gonna be a costly thing to do. And time and budget too. That's the most important thing. Try to save the brand as much money as possible. And then my advice is to make sure you work with a team who each of you guys have different skills, meaning that you guys specialize in your own thing. It doesn't make sense to form a team and you guys all do the same shit. It does not make sense at all. That doesn't really make a team. You all not even specializing in anything. So for example, the team that we had was me, FPV drone, and producer. We had Luigi, main DP and editor, and we had Omar as assistant director, and then Quad production assistant and BTS shooter. And then we also got Brian in the post-production as the audio engineer and sound designer. So, you know, each of us have our own special roles, and that's actually what we want to do, and that's what we're good at doing. So we just stick to that. That's how you build a team. And then, yeah, always communicate clearly with the client on what their vision is like, because like we're the one representing that shit in the video. So make sure you guys make it clear with each other, so y'all don't have that miscommunication, because that's how you end the business relationship too. Same with the real relationship, that's how you end that if you're not very clear about what you're trying to get out of that too. My closing remarks, it was a pretty long process. I feel like this took about a month to produce overall. The thing that took the longest was pre-production and client communication as well. I mean, communication, you need to do that anyway. So if you mess up the whole video, then you basically gotta reshoot it. It just costs more time and money. So make sure communication is part of that as well. So yeah, I'm gonna show the commercial one more time, and then yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you guys like this BTS video. Subscribe if you want. I don't know, I don't care. Do what you want. I hope I provide you with some good value, and peace out.
Stop that.